Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about information disclosure in error messages. Information disclosure is when a website unintentionally reveals sensitive information to its users. Don't confuse information disclosure with reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is the process of gathering information about a target, things like checking social media, DNS records, port scanning, and more. Information disclosure, on the other hand, is what happens when the application leaks information for you. You can think of it less like reconnaissance and more like rockconnaissance.
Rockconnaissance! Come on, that's hilarious!
It's like throwing rocks at a system to see what secrets fall out. Information disclosure can happen in many ways. Exposed backup files, directory listings, developer comments, and more. But today we are going to focus specifically on information disclosure through error messages. For this, I have prepared two examples, one from PortSwigger.net and one from Owasp Juice Shop. We are first going to take a look at the PortSwigger lab. I have linked everything in the description below. Access the lab and click on any of the product pages. Looking at the URL, we can see that the product is being loaded using this query string. Changing the product ID to 2 will give us the second project. Changing it to a very large value, which probably does not exist, such as 999, returns a 404 not found response. You can see the response clearly by pressing F12. This opens the developer tools. In the network tab, we can inspect the HTTP traffic. Make sure to refresh the page since traffic is only logged after the developer tools are active. So far, there doesn't seem to be anything interesting here. But then, a malicious actor, which we have to emulate when doing penetration testing, asks a simple question. What if, instead of a number, I provide a string? Let's try setting product ID to something like muhaha. Now this is interesting. The application returns an internal server error that discloses some sensitive information. The website is using Apache Struts 2, a Java web application framework. Even more importantly, the error message reveals the exact version, 2.3.31. This is the value we have to submit to solve the lab. Let's do this now. Go back to the product page, click Submit Solution, paste and submit the struts version, and the lab is solved. At this point, you might be wondering,
So what?
well, now that we have this little bit of information, we can start doing what a malicious actor would do next, research. If we search for the vulnerabilities affecting Apache Struts 2.3.31, we quickly find this result on exploit database. This looks interesting. It seems that all Apache Strut 2 versions between 2.3.5 and 2.3.31 are affected by a previously discovered remote code execution vulnerability. To trigger the exploit, we would need to identify a request that reaches Strut's multipart parsing logic, which typically only occurs on specific post endpoints that handle multipart data. However, exploiting this RCE is beyond the scope of this lab. In order to show you another example on what information disclosure through error messages can look like, I have installed Owasp Juice Shop. Owasp Juice Shop is an intentionally insecure web application that you can run locally, for example using Docker. I'm running it on port 3000. Because it is intentionally vulnerable, it contains many flaws that closely resemble issues found in real-world applications. One such issue can be observed on the login page. If I click on Account Login and enter a single quote as the email address, along with any password, the application throws an error. Opening the developer tools, we can see that the server responds with a 500 internal server error. To inspect the response in more detail, we can go to the Network tab and locate the login request. Since we're interested in the response body, we can open the Response tab, et voila! Yes, I also speak very French. The error message reveals that the application is using an SQL database, and it even discloses the backend query that failed. From this, we learn the name of the table, users, the column names, email, password, and deleted at, and how the authentication logic is implemented. While this error alone does not give us direct access, it provides valuable information that an attacker could use to better understand the application and identify further attack vectors, such as SQL injection vulnerabilities. This is a clear example of error message information disclosure. The application is revealing internal implementation details that should never be exposed to end users. Lastly, if you are interested, this CVE page provides examples of poorly written code that generate error messages containing sensitive information. It's a widely recognized, industry-standard reference for understanding and avoiding such coding mistakes. This is it for today's tutorial, and see you in the next one. Bye!